it would be a conspiracy if that's what we were saying. But this is no conspiracy because they're not really hiding it. It's out fully, open, in the public.
The shadow government is a multi-headed hydra.
The part of the shadow government I expose the most is the military and intelligence agency sources, who develop the advanced technology behind the scenes in black projects and use it profoundly unethically on the population.
You see, you had a man in a wheelchair running for governor of New York named Franklin D. Roosevelt, Delano Roosevelt, and he was the grandson of the most successful opium dealer in Hong Kong named Warren Delano. And of course the Delano Roosevelts. Well, what has happened in this country and over the world is we have reverted through the world order. We've reverted to the Middle Ages. We have a feudal system now in which you might say futile system because of the way it works, but it's a feudal system.
It shows you the one with all the squiggly lines, the global giants corporations. Those are the 17, and they control 41 trillion, and they're all invested in each other. So the 41 trillion, 403 billion is invested in each other. So they're all collectively invested in that this $40 trillion becomes one large, super connected global capital structure. You'll see that the $17 trillion companies, there's 3 more new giants that by 2018 have been added into the trillionaires. All 32 members of the G30 have been keynote speakers at the World Economic Forum in Davos. Of the 17 most connected money management firms.
I'm in good shape. 78 years old, 82 after 4 years.
No, because facts no longer matter. Questioning will not happen.
Encourage them, have social movements that really stress the inequality. Find the ones that support of massive civil wars and revolutions. Encourage them, and it doesn't matter what it is. People in the streets in massive kinds of ways saying, we want the concentration of wealth stopped, we want billionaires stopped, we want to tax their money, you can be a millionaire, we'll let you stay wealthy, but we want all those resources put into humanitarian purposes for the world.
AKA the Great Reset. Even bigger, I wonder what you would say if I could prove that very top members of Joe Biden's cabinet are actually part of this.
This world is very different from what most people think it is.
Which is theirs.
At that time, you will have the opportunity to pledge your allegiance to the prince.
So they say billions and billions of dollars. Now I think they're starting to think rather seriously. 62 people hold as much wealth as half the world. At the beginning of 2017, 8 people controlled more wealth than half the world.
The economic mark.
Group, AKA the Great Reset.
Rising in rebellion.
Any questions?
Will the BBC and the other outlets retract this angle of attack?
It's no less ridiculous than nothing exploding and becoming something.
And I don't know how to say this. We have to go non-coercive, we have to respect our past, and we got to get the boot of oppression off the number of people who can't figure out. I feel like I did almost everything right. I did not have the career that I was expecting.
This collectivist mindset is foundational to communism, fascism, and socialism.
Let me tell you something. Baby boomers do not like to be told to leave the workforce when it's time.
The doctrine of collectivism has been put into practice by many dictators such as Hitler, Lenin, Stalin, Pol Pot, and Mao. Death, destruction, and suffering on a mass scale was the end result in each case.
We got rid of mandatory retirement in all sorts of places in the 80s.
How does placing the good of society above the good of the individual tend towards such unfortunate outcomes?
I don't care whether it's 2 dudes raising a kid, or 2 chicks, or 2 people who are non-binary, but a continuing society is all about babies.
As a society is a concept, it cannot think, act, speak, or choose, and therefore, an individual or a group of individuals must be granted the ability to define the so-called societal greater good, and then granted the power to force individuals to act in service of this good. Since the dawn of civilization, it has been ruling classes who anoint themselves the arbiters of the greater good, and so not surprisingly the greater good, more often than not, merely amounts to the good of those in power.
Do the ends justify the means? In your opinion, do they?
What will you do if you're the king of an empire, and you rely on the slavery of your people to keep you rich and powerful?
Population.
But you see,
we're developing a society because of all of these different toxins known to affect brain function. We're seeing a society that not only has a lot more people of lower IQ, but a lot fewer people of higher IQ. In other words, a dumbing down, a chemical dumbing down of society. So everyone's sort of mediocre. That leaves them dependent on government because they can't excel. We have these people of lower IQ who are totally dependent.
Well, it's been true since 1933.
Very powerful people who essentially rule this world right now. And the ordinary person is a slave in this world.